माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय यशोदनंदना जय ब्रज जनरंजना जय यशोदनंदना जय ब्रज जनरंजना जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तिरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुंदर माई की जय। नरसिंह भगवान की जय। पंच तत्व की जय। षड गोस्वामी की जय। गुरु परंपरा की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। तागोत हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Lord Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Matagis. So, today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 1st chapter. There are there's a bulk of 49, 50, 54 verses. Verse number 49 to 52. So let us start and recite this verse first. पितृभ्येकां युक्तेभ्यो भवायैकां भवच्चिदे श्रद्धा मैत्री दया शान्तिस् तुष्टि पुष्टि क्रियोन्नतिः पितृभ्येकां युक्तेभ्यो भवायेकां भवच्छिदे श्रद्धा मैत्री दया शांति तुष्टि पुष्टि क्रियोन्नतिः बुद्धिर्मेधा तितिक्षा ह्रीर्मूर्तिर्धर्मस्य पत्न्यः श्रद्धा सूत शुभं मैत्री प्रसादम् अभयं दया बुद्धिर्मेधा तितिक्षा ह्रीर्मूर्तिर्धर्मस्य पत्न्यः श्रद्धा सूत शुभं मैत्री प्रसादम् अभयं दया शांति सुखं मुदं तुष्टिः स्मयं पुष्टिरसूयत योगं क्रियोन्नतिर्दर्पम् अर्थं बुद्धिरसूयत शांति सुखं मुदं तुष्टिः स्मयं पुष्टिरसूयत योगं क्रियोन्नतिर्दर्पम् अर्थं बुद्धिरसूयत मेधा स्मृतिं तितिक्षातु क्षेमं ह्रीः प्रसरयं सुतम् मूर्तिः सर्वगुणोपतेर् नरनारायणावृषि मेधा स्मृतिं तितिक्षातु क्षेमं ह्रीः प्रसरयं सुतम् मूर्तिः सर्वगुणोपत्तिर् नरनारायणावृषि. Just give only the first verse. Anybody of you wants to recite?
May I, Prabhu?
Yes, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. पितृभ्य एकं युक्तेभ्यो भवायैकां भविच्छदे श्रद्धा मैत्री दया शान्तिर्तुष्टि पुष्टि क्रियोन्नतिः. Hare Krishna.
One more devotee. Okay. What is the word to word meaning now? Synonyms. Pitrubhya to the Pitas. Ekam, one daughter. Yuktebhya, the assembled. Bhavaya to Lord Shiva. Ekam, one daughter. Bhavachide, who delivers from material entanglement. Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnatihi, Buddhihi, Medha, Titiksha, Hri, Murtihi. Names of 13 daughters of Daksha. Dharmasya of Dharma. Patnaya, the wives. Shraddha, Shraddha. Asuta gave birth to. Shubham, Shubha. Maitri, Maitri. Prasadam, Prasada. Abhayam, Abhaya. Daya, Daya. Shanti, Shanti. Sukham, Sukha. Mudam, Muda. Tushti, Tushti. Smayam, Smaya. Pushti, Pushti. Asuyata gave birth to. Yogam, Yoga. Kriya, Kriya. Unnatihi, Unnati. Darpam, Darpa. Artham, Artha. Buddhi, Buddhi. Asuyata, begot. Medha, Medha. Smritim, Smriti. Titiksha, Titiksha. Tu, also. Kshemam, Kshema. Rihi, Ri. Prasarayam, Prasaraya. Sutam, son. Murtihi, Murti. Sarvaguna, of all respectable qualities. Upattihi, the reservoir. Nara Narayana, both Nara and Narayana. Rishi, the two sages. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One of the remaining two daughters was given in charity to the Pitraloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Hri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubha. Maitri produced Prasada. Daya gave birth to Abhaya. Shanti gave birth to Sukha. Tushti gave birth to Muda. Pushti gave birth to Smaya. Kriya gave birth to Yoga. Unnati gave birth to Dharpa. Buddhi gave birth to Artha. Medha gave birth to Smriti. Titiksha gave birth to Kshema. Hri gave birth to Prasaraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Gyan Dharmandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadate Swabhadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagan Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shri Vishaka Vikamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयति अखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यां च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे प्रमाणगुणाः नमो विष्णुवे विष्णुविष्णुपते श्रीमती महाविष्णुस्वामी नामे नमो विष्णुवे विष्णुविष्णुपते मूर्तिविलास निर्विशेषवाच कृष्ण. So Hare Krishna Prabhu's Bhaktajis. I welcome all of you once again for this Srimad Bhagavatam session. So this chapter is entitled Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. That is Swayambhav Manu. Genealogical means just like a family tree, right? Which relates to the study of tracing the lines of the family descent, right? So that is the table. So now we are in the 49th verse. So we have all seen so many names, the daughters and from them who were born and from them. So all these beautiful, different names have been given. You might think why all these things are there. What is the purpose? Now today also we saw this verse, right? It's just the 13 daughters of Daksha has been given to so and so, and they gave birth to, so the names were all given. So what do you understand by this? So even when we started the class before, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayamudri. Here also we see, before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respect and obeisance unto the personality of God, Narayana, then unto Naranara Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, Goddess of learning, and unto Shri. So from this verse, we basically discuss more about the Naranara Rishi. Okay. And the 46th and 47th verse of this chapter, just previous 2-3 verses, it is said, when Maitremani is telling to Vidura and all these things. So he says, my dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Kardama Muni, correct. The daughters of who was given to the various sages. And then the population was increased. But now there is a Falashruti. People may think, oh, these are only the names, we don't want to skip this chapter. But if you read this chapter sincerely, or even if you hear those names and hearing this, how the descendants have come about, it is said, anyone who hears the descriptions of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. So those who are hearing this Bhagavatam of this, this table, this 4th canto, 1st chapter, it says, anyone who hears the descriptions, even just hearing these descriptions of this dynasty with faith, they will be relieved from all sinful reactions. So Manu's daughters, Akuti and Prasuti. So Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, another one, she married the son of Brahma named Daksha. Okay. That's why in the previous verse, the translation is said, Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes in his wife Prasuti. So of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and one daughter was given to Agni. So two were left, right? That's why now in the just a minute, sorry. So Daksha begot 16 daughters, and 13 he gave it to Dharma and one daughter to Agni. So he said now in this verse we saw one of the remaining two daughters was given in charity to Pitraloka, where she resides very amicably. The other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of sinful persons from material entanglement. Then we saw the 13 names of daughters of Daksha, right? Who were given to so many people, and they gave birth to. And the last one is Murti, the reservoir of all respectable qualities. She gave birth to Shri Naranarayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why the 59th verse of this chapter only, the translation it says that Narayana Rishi, who is a partial expansion of Krishna, yes, so he is a partial expansion of Krishna. So Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nara is a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So the energy and the energetic together are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See in Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 7th chapter, 6th verse. It says, to exhibit, in the translation it said, to exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance. So he wanted to exhibit the personal, how to do austerity and penance. To exhibit that, he appeared in the twin forms as Narayana and Nara in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. So, Hare Krishna, just hold on, I will just mute, there's a disturbance. Please mute all yourself. So celestial beauties, that is the companions of Cupid, no? They went to try to break their vows, their austerity, but they were unsuccessful because they saw many beauties like them were emanating from the personality of God himself. So they could not do anything. So the purport, Prabhupada very beautifully says, the Lord being the source of everything that be, is the origin of all austerities and penances also. So great vows of austerity are undertaken by sages to achieve success in self-realization. That is the basic purpose of austerity. So human life is meant for such tapasya, with a great vow of celibacy or brahmacharya. See, in the rigid life of tapasya, no, there is no place for the association of women. And because human life is meant for tapasya, that is for self-realization. So factual, this human civilization, as it is conceived by the system of Sanatana Dharma, or the four castes and four orders of life, right? It prescribes very rigid disassociation from women in three stages of life. So, in order of the cultural development, no, one's life may be divided into four divisions: celibacy, household life, retirement, and renunciation. So, during the first stage of life, up to 25 years of age, a man may be trained as a brahmachari under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, just to understand that woman is a real binding force in material existence. So, if one wants to get freedom from the material bondage of conditional life, he must get free from the attraction for the form of woman. So, woman or the fair sex is the enchanting principle for the living entities. And the male form, especially in the human being, is meant for self realization. So, the whole world is moving under the spell of womanly attraction. And as soon as a man becomes united with a woman, he at once becomes a victim of material bondage under a tight knot, right? So once it is not here and again, more and more knots, it's completely entangled. It's very difficult to get out, right? So the desires for lording it over the material nature under the intoxication of a like false sense of lordship. No, you want to lord everything. Begin just of the man's unification with a woman. So the desires for acquiring a house, possessing land, having children, and becoming prominent in society, affection for the community and the place of birth, and the hankering for wealth. Prabhupada says these are all like phantasmagoria. Beautiful word, it phantasmagoria or illusory dreams. So it just entangles the human being and is thus impeded. There are obstacles are there in his progress towards self-realization, which is actually the real aim of life. See, the brahmachari or a boy from the age of 5 years, especially from the higher caste, namely the scholar like Brahmanas, the administrative parents like the Kshatriyas or the mercantile or productive parents, the Vaishyas, they are trained until 25 years of age under the care of a bona fide guru and very strict observance of discipline. So he comes to understand the values of life along with taking specific training for a livelihood. Now, the brahmachari is then allowed to go home and enter household life and get married to a suitable woman. But there are many brahmacharis who do not go home to become householders, but continue the life of Naishtika brahmacharis without any connection with women. So they accept the order of sannyasa or the renounced order of life because they know that the combination with women is unnecessary burden that checks their self-realization. Now, since sex desire is very strong at a certain stage of life, the guru may allow the brahmachari to marry. So this license is given to brahmachari who is unable to continue the way of Naishtika brahmachari. And such discriminations are possible for the bona fide guru. He can allow. So what happened? So the householder who associates with women under scriptural injunctions, restrictions, after he has been thoroughly trained in the brahmacharya. So he cannot be like a householder like a cats and dogs because he knows what is the Vedic uh, restrictions. So such a householder, after 50 years of age, he would retire from association of women as a vanaprastha to be trained to live alone without the association of women. So when the practice is complete, the same retired householder becomes a sannyasi, strictly separate from women, even from his married wife. So studying the whole scheme of this dissociation from women, it appears that a woman is a stumbling block for self-realization. And the Lord appeared as Narayana to teach the principle of womanly dissociation with a vow in life. So what happened? The demigods, being envious of austere life of the rigid brahmacharis, they would try to cause them to break their vows by dispatching soldiers of Cupid, like Indra he does. So in the case of the Lord, it became unsuccessful. It was not possible because the Naranarana, their austerity and tapasya was very, very perfect. See, in 5th canto, 19th chapter, 9th verse, translate. Shukadeva Goswami is telling the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are inconceivable. He says he has appeared in the form of Naranarana in the land of Bharatavarsha at the place known as Badrikashrama to favor his devotees by teaching them religion, knowledge, renunciation, spiritual power, sense control, and freedom from false ego. So he's advanced in the opulence of spiritual assets and he engages in executing austerity until the end of this millennium. So this is a process of self-realization. So even you can see in 5th canto, 19th chapter, 11th and 12th verse, Narada Muni is giving some wonderful prayers, right? He says, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto Naranarana, the best of all saintly persons. Supreme Personality of God. He's the most self-controlled and self-realized. He's free from false prestige. And he's the asset of persons who have no material possessions. And he says, he is the spiritual master of all Paramahamsas, who are the most exalted human beings. And he is the master of the self-realized. So let me offer my repeated obeisance unto his lotus feet. So Narada is praying. This is in the 11th verse. The 12th verse. Now see, Narada, the most powerful sage, right? Saintly sage. He also worshipped Narayana by chanting mantras. So the Supreme Personality of God is the master of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this visible cosmic manifestation. Yet he is completely free from false prestige. He has created everything, but he doesn't have any false prestige. I have created. So the foolish, no, although to the foolish, he appears to have accepted a material body like us. But he is unaffected by the bodily tribulations like hunger, thirst, fatigue. He doesn't have anything of that sort. Although he is a witness who sees everything. His senses are unpolluted by the objects he sees. So Narada Muni is telling, let me offer my respectful obedience to that unattached, pure witness of the world, the supreme soul, the personality of God, Narayana. See, Badrika Ashrama in the Himalayas, the abode of Narayana sages, right, is a great place of pilgrimage for the Hindus. See, even up to the present, hundreds and thousands of pious Hindus go to pay respects to the incarnation of God, Narayana. See, it appears that even 5,000 years ago, this holy place was being visited by such a holy being as Uddhava. And even at that time, the place was known to be very, very old. So this particular pilgrimage site is very difficult to visit for ordinary man because of its difficult situation in the Himalayas, which is covered by ice almost all of throughout the year, right? What happens? No, few months, summer season people they can visit this place of great personal inconvenience. So there are four dhams which represent the planets of the spiritual sky, which consists of the Brahma Jyoti and the Vaikunthas. So these are Badrikashrama, Rameshwara, Jagannath Puri, and Dwaraka. So faithful Hindus visit all these holy places for perfection of spiritual realization, following in the footsteps of the devotees like Uddhava. So this is very nicely given by Prabhupada in Bhagavatam 3.4.22 purport. See, in 3.4.30 purport, Prabhupada says, Uddhava was considered to be the best among all devotees at that time. And therefore, he was directly instructed by the Lord's grace. Krishna himself directly was giving instructions. So that people might take advantage of Uddhava's knowledge after the disappearance of the Lord from the vision of the world. So this is one of the reasons why Uddhava was advised to go to Badrikashrama. Because Uddhava wanted to go along with the Lord. But he said, no, wait, you go to Badrikashrama, where the Lord is personally represented by Narayana deity. So one who is transcendently advanced can gain direct inspiration from the temple deity of Narayana in the Badrika. And thus a devotee of the Lord always takes shelter of a recognized temple of the Lord in order to make tangible advancement in transcendental knowledge by the grace of the Lord. So actually, we can, in this chapter itself, now we are doing 49 to 52 verses, right? So later on, 55, 56, and 58, it also again speaks about Narayana. See, once when Narada is a very great devotee amongst the demigods, once he was traveling among different planets. So he desired to meet Narayana personally in Badrikashrama and offer him his respects. We saw the prayers he gave earlier, right? So this great sage incarnation of Godhead, Narayana Rishi, they have been undergoing great penances and austerities from the very beginning of the creation. Why they were doing this? To teach the inhabitants of Bharatavarsha how to attain the highest perfection of stage of going back to Godhead. So his austerities and penances are exemplary for the human being. So the incarnation of God, Narayana Rishi, was sitting amongst many devotees in the village known as Kalapa Grama. Of course, these were not ordinary sages sitting with him. And the great sage Narada also appeared there. So after offering his respects to Narayana Rishi, Narada asked him exactly the same question which King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami. Then the Rishi answered by following the footsteps of his predecessors. He narrated a story of how the same question had been discussed on the planet known as Janaloka, which is above the Swargaloka planets, such as the moon and the Venus. See, on this planet, great sages and saintly persons live. And they once discussed the same point regarding the understanding of Brahman and his real identity. So thus the Veda Stuti or the prayers offered by the personified Vedas to Garbhodakashai Vishnu. They were first narrated in disciplic succession by Sanandana to his brothers, all of whom were born of Brahma at the beginning of the universe. So the four Kumaras, they were the firstborn sons of Brahma. So they were known as Purva Jata. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that the parampara system of the disciplic succession begins with Krishna himself. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. That's what Brahmaji stays in the first prayer, right? Krishna is the source of everything. Similarly, here in the prayers of the personified Vedas, it is understood that the parampara system begins with the personality of God Narayana Rishi. We should remember that this Veda Stuti is narrated by Kumara Sanandana. And the narration is repeated by Narayana Rishi in Badrikashima. Now, Narayana Rishi is the incarnation of Krishna for showing us the path of self-realization by undergoing severe austerities. We may not be able to do so that much severe, but at least we can get up early in the morning to Mangalarti. That's the best thing, right? So in this age, Lord Chaitanya demonstrated the path of pure devotional service by putting himself in the role of a pure devotee. They had come to show us how to do bhakti. So similarly, in the past, Lord Narayana Rishi was an incarnation of Krishna who performed severe austerities in the Himalayan ranges, right? So Narada Muni was hearing from him. So in the statement given by Narayana Rishi to Narada Muni, as narrated by Kumar Sananda in the form of Vedastuti, it is understood that God is the one supreme and that all others are his servants. See, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated, Chaitanya 15142, Ekale Ishwar Krishna. Krishna is the only supreme God. Ara Sava Bhritya. All others are his servants. Yare Yaiche Nachaya Sataiche Kare Nritya. The Supreme Lord, as he desires, is engaging all the living entities in different activities. And thus they exhibit the different talents and tendencies. So this Veda Stuti is original instruction regarding the relationship existing between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of God. So the highest platform of realization for the living entity is the attainment of devotional life. See, one cannot be engaged in devotional life or Krishna consciousness unless one is fully free from material contamination. Very important point to understand. Unless you are fully free, it's very difficult. But that's why every time when you start chanting, some deviation is there again. So we are not fully focused, that absorption. But we are in the process, we are in the process of purification. Narayana Rishi informed Narada Muni that the essence of all the Vedas and Vedic scriptures, namely the four Vedas, the Upanishads, Puranas, Vedanta Sutra, these are all to render transcendental loving service to Krishna. So in this connection, Narayana Rishi has used one particular word, rasa. In devotional service, this rasa is the via medium or the basic principle for the exchange of dealings between the Lord and the living entity. Rasa is also described in the Vedas, raso vai saha. Supreme Lord is the reservoir of all pleasure. All the Vedic scriptures, including the Puranas, Vedas, Upanishads, and Vedanta Sutra, they teach the living entities how to attain the stage of rasa. So Bhagavatam also says that the statements in this Bhagavatam, they constitute the essence, that is rasa, essence of all the Vedic literature. Nigama kalpataror garitam phalam, 113, Bhagavatam says. So Bhagavatam is the essence of the ripened fruit of the tree of the Vedic literature. So one who can remember everything perpetually is called a Shrutidhara. A Shrutidhara Brahmachari, he can repeat verbatim all that he has heard. He hears, he can just, without notes and without reference to books. That is Shrutidhara. So, sage Narada, he has this qualification. So, having taken instructions from Narayana Rishi, he is engaged in propagating the philosophy of devotional service all over the world. Now, because such great sages, they can remember everything. They are thoughtful, self-realized, and completely fixed in the service of the Lord. So we should try to remember everything, right? So that's why memory, and that's why in Kali Yuga, the memory is very, very short. So we have to, the best way is chanting the Hare Krishna Mantra, reciting the shlokas, hearing again and again all these scriptures. Then by absorption, by getting the bhava, the rasa, then naturally it will stay in our memory. So great saying Narada, after hearing from his spiritual master Narayana Rishi, he became completely realized. He became established in the truth. And he became so happy that he offered prayers to Narayana Rishi. So Narada Muni addressed Narayana Rishi as an incarnation of Krishna and specifically addressed him as the supreme well-wisher of the conditioned souls. See, Narada Muni is telling that Krishna is the well-wisher of all the conditioned souls. So we should accept that. That means Krishna is always wishing well for all of us. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna descends in every millennium just to give protection to his devotees and to annihilate the non-devotees. So Narayana Rishi, being an incarnation of Krishna, is also addressed as the well-wisher of the conditioned souls. That is stated in Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should know that there is no well-wisher like Krishna. Everyone should understand that Lord Krishna is the supreme well-wisher of everyone and should take shelter of Krishna. In this way, one can become completely confident and satisfied, knowing that he has someone who is able to give him all protection. We will be very happy, right? Because as a child, they know that parents will always take care of them. They don't have to worry about anything else. Complete under their shelter. So we have to have that faith in Krishna. It is said that Arjuna is an empowered incarnation of Naranarana. He is even sometimes called Naranarayana, right? So the Naranarana incarnation is also one of the Lord Vishnu's plenary expansions. Therefore, when Krishna and Arjuna went to see Lord Vishnu, there's one pastime. It is to be understood that Arjuna visited in his Naranarana capacity. Just as Krishna, when he displays pastime in Dwaraka, acted in his Vasudeva capacity. In fact, there are more prayers to Narayana Rishi, like Kashyapa Muni in 8:16:34. He prays, I offer my respectful obeisance to you, who are the original personality of Godhead, the witness in everyone's heart, and the incarnation of Narayana Rishi in the form of a human being. O personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance to you. Like that, so many prayers in 10:86:35 by Bahulashwa, in 11:5:29-30 by Karbajana to Kim Nimi. So Naranarana are twin sages who are the incarnated avatars of Lord Vishnu. Nara means human. Narayana refers to the Supreme Lord. So their purpose of incarnation was to maintain dharma on the earth. So as twin sages who came to the earth to eradicate evils and establish virtue and righteousness, right? So they were widely known as Krishna and Arjuna in Mahabharata, who fought against evils to protect dharma. So Bhagavatam mentions Narayana as the fourth incarnation of Lord Vishnu on earth. So in Bhagavatam, we find the story in which the Lord in his manifestation as Naranarana Rishi was doing penances in Badrikashrama. Okay. So Indra became fearful that Narana Rishi would become powerful by his severe penances and thereby he will take over his kingdom. So what Indra did? He sent the Cupid, god of love, and all his associates to disturb his penance. Cupid attacked the Lord with arrows in the form of beautiful glances of women. The Lord was completely undisturbed by this. Cupid and the heavenly women, understanding their great offense and also understanding the Lord's transcendental nature, they were standing trembling before Narayana Rishi in fear of receiving a powerful curse because they tried everything but nothing happened. So they said now they will be cursed. But the Lord, they did not become proud of their undisturbed nature and they exhibited very sublime and saintly behavior. So he eradicated their fear by saying, do not fear, O Cupid and wives of the demigods. Please accept these gifts I am offering you and kindly sanctify my ashrama by your presence. See, he never felt angry, right? Retaliation, nothing. So Devatas were ashamed and they glorified the Lord's transcendental and self-satisfied nature by wonderful prayers. So while the demigods were thus praising the Supreme Lord, the all-powerful Lord suddenly manifested before their eyes many women created on his own who were astonishingly gorgeous, decorated fine clothes and ornaments. They were all in the service of the Lord. They were more beautiful than from the people, Apsaras, who came from the heaven. So devatas were bewildered by the beauty of the woman, created by the Lord, and also the pleasant fragrance of the bodies. So they felt very much ashamed. Supreme Lord smiled at the devatas and told them, please choose one of these women whom you see suitable. She will be ornament of the heavenly planets. So the devatas selected Urvashi. She was called so because the Lord manifested her from his thighs, Uru, and and they were respectfully escorted her to the heavenly planets. So they related all that happened to Indra. And when Indra heard of the offense, he was frightened and he was astonished by the Lord's transcendental nature. So this pastime proves that the Lord is fully independent and beyond the molds of nature. He could manifest heavenly gods without the aid of Cupid or anyone. This is the point. So as we just discussed, know that Narana Rishi is the abode of Narana Rishi is Badrinath. It's a great place for pilgrimage. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, even 5,000 years ago, this holy place was visited by even Uddhava. And at that time, the place was known to be very old, right? It is one of the 8 self-managed holy tirthas in India. So the 4 dhamas, right, which represent the planets of the spiritual sky. That is Badrinath, Rameshwaram, Jagannath Puri, and Dwarka. So all the pilgrims, they all visit for spiritual self-realization. So Badrinath is a very prominent pilgrimage place and very dear to Lord Krishna. Badri is the name of Ilandai tree, which is favorite of Mahalakshmi. See, the Skanda Puran says there are several sacred shrines in heaven, on earth, and in hell, but there is no shrine like Badrinath. So Badrinath is also called Narada Kshetram because Narada Muni attained liberation here in 5 days. And Gautama Rishi, Kapila, and Kashyapa, they are said to have come here, and Shankaracharya established a temple there. So Narada Muni is praying very nicely to Narana Rishi in the 5th canto, 19th chapter, 15th verse, where he says, therefore, O Lord of O Transcendence, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute Bhakti Yoga. See the prayer. He's telling, kindly help us by giving us the power to execute Bhakti Yoga so that we can control our restless minds and fix them upon you. So, very simple prayer. This is the prayer we should do. So, we are all infected by your illusory energy. Therefore, we are very attached to the body, which is full of stool and urine, and to anything related to the body. Except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Except for devotional service, there is no way to give up this attachment. Therefore, kindly bestow upon this benediction. Beautiful prayer. 5, 19, 15. So Narada Muni's prayers to Narana Rishi actually starts from 5, 19, 12. And this verse, 15th verse, is the conclusion of the previous 4 verses. So this verse actually starts with therefore, that is, which is the conclusion of the previous verses. So the reason for not being able to perform devotional service, he say by devotional service, attachment can be removed. Now the reason for not able to perform devotional service is attachment to family, friends, wealth, and ultimately to our own body. So due to attachment, we are fully absorbed in the thoughts of how to maintain them, how to protect them. So normally analyzes that our own body is full of stool and urine. And all these other paraphernalias are an expansion of this body, which means they're also abominable. However, we are still not able to give up this attachment because our mind convinces us that without these paraphernalias, we cannot be happy. And in addition to this, it is also restless because the mind is absorbed in impermanent objects. It is not absorbed in permanent objects. It becomes restless. As Arjuna too complains to Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it is impossible to curb the restless mind. So this restless mind can find peace only at the lotus feet of the Lord. And that is possible only through intense devotional service, not just intense. See, if we like to get something, how intensely we do that, right? Because I want to achieve this. I want to be the first, maybe in the Olympics or like that. So much training we do. So you're only focused and in that intensity. Same intensity should be in this devotional service. So the mind should always be trained to think of nothing but how to please the Lord. So how to do intense devotional service? Mind should be trained to think of nothing but how to please Krishna, how to serve Krishna and his devotees. So this way, the mind can be positively engaged in the transcendental service. Swabhava is translated by Prabhupada as which is symptomized by a steady mind. See, our Swabhava is to serve the Lord eternally without any motive. And the symptom of which is steady mind. Mind should be very steady. How, see, steadiness of mind is possible only if we sincerely pray to the Supreme Lord to take us out of the attachments. Just like Narada Muni prayed, and absorb us in the devotional space. We have to pray. Krishna, please take us out of these attachments and absorb us in this devotional service. So everything is possible only by the sanction of the Lord. More so for devotional service, which is the only means of associating with the Lord and pleasing. See, when Dhruva Maharaj, he was requested to ask for a benediction by Kuvera, he could ask anything. And Kuvera being the treasurer of the demigods, he could have given all the wealth in the world. But Dhruva Maharaj only asked for the benediction that he must have unflinching faith in the Lord and constant remembrance of his glories. So this is how a devotee behaves. Even though one is allured to ask for material benedictions for some superior personalities like demigods, no? Still they do not budge away from their focus on serving the Lord without motive. So let us learn from these prayers and great personalities like Narada Muni and Dhruva Maharaj. Somehow or the other try to practice devotional service without any motive to the best of our ability. See, if you look at things from more complete, like multi-life perspective, then we understand that the problems we face in this life are due to our karma from the previous lives. Mahabharata mentions that Karna was a demon named Dhambodhava in his previous life. So this demon had terrorized the universe on the strength of a blessing he got from the sun god. So he had been blessed to have 1,000 kavachas, by which one he could be destroyed only one at a time. He has 1,000 kavachas, so one at a time only can be destroyed. Secondly, could be destroyed only by someone who had performed 1,000 years of austerity. Nobody else can finish it off. And thirdly, it would cause the immediate death of the destroyer of the kavacha. The one who destroys the first kavacha, he will be also destroyed. So this combination of sages made this undefeatable till he met his match in the form of Naranayana, who are considered non-different from each other. So they fought with Gambodhva, who had 1,000 kavachas, right? So they fought with him alternately. One of them will be fighting while the other will be performing austerity. So both doing so for 1,000 years. So when the warrior would destroy one kavacha and fall dead, the one who is meditating would revive him by the power of his austerities, and they would swap places next. So the warrior would fight and finally destroy another kavacha after 1,000 years, till the ascetic acquired enough merit through austerity to take up the fight for another 1,000 years and destroy one more kavacha. So one by one, like this. So by this resourceful arrangement, no, those sages destroyed 999 kavachas. Narana. So when just one kavacha remained, the demon, he fled to the shelter of the sun god. And because it came through him, no. So due to attachment to his worshipper, he refused to hand him over to Narayana Rishis. Eventually, the demon was impregnated by the sun god into the womb of Kunti, and he was born as Karna. Simultaneously, Narayana appeared as Arjuna and Krishna to complete their unfinished mission of ridding the universe of the terrible demon. So Karna, due to his contact with the sun god and due to his being parented by that effulgent deity, he had developed some virtues. But due to the inclinations from his demonic previous life, he also had some weaknesses. So he became a complex grey character in the Mahabharata, right? So whatever he suffered during his life was a result of bad karma he had done in his previous life. So similarly, we can see more in 12th canto, 8th chapter. In fact, this chapter describes how Markandeya Rishi performed austerities, defeated by his potency Cupid and all his associates, and offered prayers to Lord Sri Hari in his form of Narayana Rishi. You can go through that 12th canto, 8th chapter also. So how Markandeya Rishi also got the darshan of Narana Rishi. See, Shaunaka was confused about the extraordinary long lifespan of Markandeya, who had taken birth in Shaunaka's own dynasty, yet who had moved about alone in the ocean of devastation millions of years previously. And he saw a wonderful young child lying on a banyan leaf. It seemed to Shaunaka that Markandeya had lived through 2 days of Brahma. And he asked Suta Goswami to explain this. So Suta Goswami replied that the sage Markandeya, after receiving the purificatory ritual Brahminical initiation from his father, he had fixed himself in the vow of lifelong celibacy. He then worshipped the Supreme Lord Hari for 6 lifetimes of Manu. So in the 7th Manvantara, Lord Indra sent Kamadeva, Cupid, and his associates to interrupt the sage's austerities. But Markandeya Rishi defeated them by the potency generated from his penance. Then, to show mercy to Markandeya, Lord Sri Hari appeared before him in the form of Naranarayana. So Markandeya prostrated himself in obeisance and then worshipped the lords by offering wonderful prayers. He offered them wonderful, very nice seat, comfortable water for washing their feet, and other respectful representations he did. He then prayed, "O Almighty Lord, you bring to life the vital air of all creatures, and you also protect the 3 worlds, vanquish distress, and award liberation. You never allow those who have taken shelter of you to be defeated by any kind of misery." This is the point. So he is again praying wonderful prayers. So this is what the Narana Rishi is actually teaching us is tapasya, by which we can get absorbed totally and not get deviated. Otherwise, we get so much deviations, right? So many attractions are there in this material world. The what do you say? The media, the advertisements, the publicity, so many all around, everywhere. So it's very difficult to get absorbed in the devotional service. Always, it's not maybe 5 minutes, then in the next moment again. So where you can see in your chanting itself, right? When in fact, when you start chanting, all the organization of our life will start. What to do from morning till evening, everything will start. We totally forget about the chanting. So this has to be completely taken out by our intense devotional service. So this uh, Naranarishi's incarnation is teaching us how to do bhakti, intense bhakti, by which we can go back home, back to Godhead. So I stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol. So I tried whatever is best within this capacity because this verse had only the names. So I took from Narana Rishis a few of the pastimes and what exactly they convey to us, what has to be done. So thank you, Hare Krishna. If you have any questions or anything to share, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Nice explanation, Guruji, about that Naranarayana twin sages, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And when I went through this particular chapter twice, as you explained that it was really in the Himalayas where 5,000 years ago, there is a separate temple for this Naranarayana Rishi. And the power of these sages who are really great to hear again from you. It's a totally very nice chapter. And also about the 13 daughters where you explained about that 13 of them, 16 of them, 13 belong to Dharma and 1 to Agni. And the other 2, you said that it is Shiva. Guruji?
Yeah, one of them is Shiva, one of them is, correct.
Yeah. It's very, very wonderful and it's very divine to hear. It's beautiful story, Guruji.
Yes. So by hearing
really
this,
fortunate to. My time has suited
in the
here.
beginning, I saw the Falashruti I told you, that if you hear this, all the simple action will be eradicated.
Yes, Guruji. Yeah.
Thank you.
Luckily, my time suited as it is 8:30 p.m.
Oh,
here.
you're in US. Okay.
Yeah. It is Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. I got some time to hear. So it's really very nice, fortunate, Guruji.
So nice of you to join, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Your
thank you,
enthusiasm
Guruji.
is
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanapana, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
Mataji. Hari Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna, welcome, Prabhu. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Ramachandra Prabhu.
After hearing your class, I feel
Thank you.
so. I feel lost as if I'm.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, bro. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. As you were explaining the realms of the universe and the in depth and all that, I felt as if I am lost in a maze. It's a labyrinth, Prabhuji. The more you go, the more you get entangled in that. Unless you have a twine to find the path out of the labyrinth, you are caught in this. You just can't escape and come out of it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Very,
Krishna.
very revealing, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Kurvis Matajis. If you have anything else, otherwise we'll stop here. So thank you, Uttam Nava Prabhu, once again for
Thank you
giving
very
the
much, Prabhu.
association.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.